Hey YouTube, RicoKnows here. Going to continue my series of hidden gems. If you didn't know, I am pointing out one hidden gem on every single team in America. If you want to know all the other hidden gems, go to YouTube, go to the homepage, click on the playlist, find the hidden gems playlist. This video is on that playlist, so you'll be able to see all the different hidden gems. But here we are. We're going to talk about Akron, and my hidden gem is a guy named Bennett Adler. Now, before I get into Bennett, let's talk about the team Akron in itself. I believe in Akron this year. I think they're going to be pretty good. Yes, they had some departures in the transfer portal, but what you see here in the receiver room is Alex Adams is back, 100% healthy, hopefully, and he'll be a star wide receiver. This is a former LSU wide receiver, was an all-conference wide receiver back in 2022, had a down year last year. Yes, they lost Gaithens, and I don't want to get into all that stuff, but they have a good wide receiver room. Shout out to Alex Adams. Getting an upgrade at quarterback, Ben Finley transferring in, former NC State quarterback, younger brother of Ryan Finley, former Cal quarterback. Now he's here to be the starting quarterback. Oh, by the way, they also got Taj Bullock, former Virginia Tech quarterback. So shout out to him. That's a Jersey kid right there. Running back room. I like Charles Kellum. Charles Kellum's going to be fine. If you go back and watch his huddle tape, I think the first play on the tape is a 98-yard run. Kid's got some juice to him. Not a burner, but definitely fast enough. Runs behind his pads, leans forward, falls forward, and makes people miss. Just a natural running back. Really like his tape. Shout out to him. And he's got big shoes to fill. And we'll talk about that. But when you look at the defense, this team is being led by its defense. They have absolute studs, so much so, Phil Still pointed out a couple of them. Now, you look at Phil Still here, they have C.J. Nunley, first team in the MAC, all MAC. C.J. Nunley, absolute stud at defensive end, number 91, collapses pocket, sets the edge, gets to the quarterback, does all the right things. Shout out to C.J. Nunley. He looks special. Looks like a good player. Then you have another first-teamer, and Brian McCoy led the team in tackles, I believe. If I can check the stats, where are the stats? Let's go check. McCoy led the team in tackles? Yes, he did. There's Brian McCoy leading the team in tackles. Shout out to him. And I'll be honest, when I was doing this video in preparation for this, I do a lot of research. You guys know me. I do what I do. And I was looking at these guys. I already know most of the players in America. I study rosters. And I said, okay, Brian McCoy's great, but I'm going to do a film on Antavius Fish here, former played at Jackson High School in Georgia, went to Coffeyville. Now he's on the team, and I thought he was getting no love. Glad to see he's on the preseason list, but he was on no postseason list from last year. Nobody recognized him, not honorable mention, not first, second, or third team for the MAC. I didn't like it, so I was like, man, I'm going to give him some shine and do a video on him. So I was watching all the tape, I'm doing things, and then out of nowhere, somebody else pops on tape. And that happens sometimes. And that somebody else is Bennett Adler. So I'm going to get to him shortly. But you see it, man. They got some guys they believe in. Shout out to Lama Lavea, former New Mexico State defensive tackle, nose tackle, whatever you want to call him. I think he's playing defensive tackle on the team. They have defenders. They have good linebackers, good players. And I'm still going to show you a hidden gem you might not know. And his name is Bennett Adler down here. 2.5 sacks last year. Not a whole lot of sacks. Not anything great, but he's scheduled to be a starter. He's a meaty dude, man. He did an interview. He was at the College Football Hall of Fame for Media Day. He did an interview. This is a high academic guy. This is a good player. Been at the school for a while now. Comes out of a high school program in Ohio that you should know about. Okay, I'm going to pull them up here shortly. St. Ignatius. They got pros in the league. Brian Hoyer's there, Jack Ryan, Draymond Jones, the Eichenbergs, right? Liam and Tommy Eichenberg, shout out to them. They got a number of guys who have played in the NFL coming out of this legendary high school. One of my favorites, Dave Ragone down here, quarterback. I think he played at Louisville. Good quarterback back then, back in the day. But anyways, so they got a great program. But when I watch tape, this number 93 here, bro, he's this guy right here. Okay, one of the few white guys on the defensive line. When you see him and his pursuit, now this is a game against Ohio when he had 2 sacks, but what he does, right, he's following his job. Sometimes I'll see him wrong shoulder things. I know he was told to do that. Sometimes I'll see him with his gap responsibility. He's maintaining his gaps. This man is playing great. He's got a high motor. He's out there to do the job. It's 1st and 10, middle of the field. It's 1st and 10, so he's going to come off the edge here. But just watch him and just watch his motor. Hands out and gets through. Now, that initial part where you got your hands out and you don't get slapped down. I'm sorry, I went way back. I went back way too far. Let's see it again. You see this tackle on the left here. Hands out. Boom. All right. We swipe away. Now we got to reset. Let's try again. What's our next move? Boom. Rip. Go. Get through them and get the sack. It's just incredible to see this effort, and it pops on tape at times where there's these little spurts of greatness, and I'm excited by it, right? I'm excited for it. And it's one of these things where people kind of ignore this young man. He had a play earlier, and I don't know if I can find it. He had a play earlier on the tape where he did a stunt, and he just played out of his mind. He'll collapse the pocket. He'll play heavy. I like what I see from this young man, as he's not in right here on these plays. You'll see number 5 as well. That's the other kid, the double L. But I've watched a lot of tape on Akron, and I can just tell you that they're going to be led by their defense. I think they're pretty stout, and they're competitive. And teams like Ohio and all these guys, they're going to be struggling to score on Akron this year. At least that's the way it looks right now. I like this Bennett Adler kid. I think he's tough. I think he's been around for a while. He's penciled in to be a starter this year. Let him be a starter. Let him go get his reps. But I think this is a guy nobody's talking about. Wasn't on any of the all-conference lists. None of that stuff. Phil Steele, none of those guys are talking about him. And when I watch him on tape, I see max effort. I see a guy as a team player doing his job, right? Understanding what his role is in the scheme. And that matters. Okay, these guys are in the spring. They got to learn their plays and learn their responsibilities. And I think Bennett Adler is one of those physically dominant, mature guys that you need up front in the MAC. So I'm excited to see what happens this year, but that's my hidden gem for Akron. While everybody's talking about everybody else, I see it. They're all over this list. These are all your studs. I know. But there's no way you ignore Bennett Adler. When you're watching tape, look for 93. I believe in him. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Check the playlist, y'all. Peace.